Hello and welcome back. This week we're going to have a quick look at this set, the RS.9. Now this came along in 66, lasted till 67. It's got great contents, but let's just have a swift look at the outside. You can see we've got a little bit of damage here and some nice rusty staples in the edge of the box there. And then that wonderful Hornby logo there with model railways underneath it. The edges suffered a little bit of damage over time, but these boxes were just meant to ship the contents to the shop really and get it to the end user for a birthday or Christmas perhaps. Again, you can see some evidence of tape there being used to repair the box. And just running down the edge of the box there, you can see it's a little bit wrinkly. I suspect it's been quite damp at some point in its life, this box. We'll just have a look down this final edge here, and again we've got that lovely Hornby logo there, perhaps with the evidence of tape there to hold the lid on the box and its original journey to the shop. And here we have this wonderful illustration on the box lid. I think this is perhaps one of their best. It really is quite something. Just have a look at that. Imagine unwrapping that on your birthday. So the set came along in 66, I think I mentioned earlier, and only remained available till 67. So there's the 66 catalogue. Terrific image, we've seen that before. And there is that brilliant Intercity Express set, the RS.9, running across the top of that page of sets there. Really terrific. Let's just have a look what it says about it there. There we have RS.9. Locomotive's got the magnet adhesion. Intercity Express set contains English electric Cocoa diesel locomotive with magnet adhesion, 2 first-class Pullmans, Pullman brake second, large oval of track and with uncoupler. So a fair amount, but fairly basic stuff, I think. So we'll just pop the catalogue away. We've got some rather interesting sort of background noise today. The wind's gusting at sort of mid 40 mile per hour mark today, so we have a strange background noise, so you'll have to excuse that. I'll just pop the catalogue down. So there we've got that terrific set. It really does look impressive, doesn't it? All these buildings and track and the feeling of movement there with the locomotive, the lines that the artist has put in there. And we do have an artist's name there. If I lift off the lid, we can have a swift look there at the corner of the box, and it's got C.J. Harrison. Terrific work, I think. Really lovely. He's done other bits of work for Hornby and Rovex over the years. So we'll just pop that to one side, and there we have the wonderful contents of the set. It's a terrific sticky label on there, isn't it? Just stuck in there. It has gone a little bit wrinkly. I don't expect that was applied very well in the factory in the first place. So here we have the Super 4 track. It's sort of in reasonable condition. Just pick that up, but it suffers over time when it's stored. This, it doesn't look to have been used. I haven't used this track, so it's a little bit grimy. So we'll just pop that down, and we've got a power clip, and there is a uncoupling ramp down there, but I'm not sure whether can I fish that out. Let's see. There we go. I'll pop the track back in there. There we go. There's a single uncoupling ramp that adds huge play value to the set. So this box isn't perfect, as we've seen. The outside is a little bit damaged. It does have some damage on the interior here, and where the track lies in the box. I suspect that it's quite weak, this vac form moulding, and it's stood the test of time reasonably well. So we've got 2 of these Pullman coaches. This one's named Ruth. We'll just lift her up and have a swift look over. We've seen these before. So this was catalogue number R228. So a very long running model from 1958 to 73, when those rather smart Pullmans we saw just a few weeks ago came along. So pretty nice condition. I have cleaned up the wheels on these, unlike the track. So I'll just pop Ruth back in there, and we'll take Jane out of the box. There we go. Again, fairly tidy condition. Not too much manhandling these coaches. I think they've been used, but sort of looked after. Let's pop down. So I don't know whether the previous owner had another rake of these, but they've gone to the effort of removing the number 9 there, so that should be car 79. That's been scraped off, sadly, on both sides, but I think we can probably live with that. So we'll pop that down. And I think the brake coach, that was catalogue number R328, that didn't come along till 1960, again ran till the early 70s. And here we have this wonderful English Electric here, coming along also in 66, lasting till 67 in this particular livery. It is a lovely model. I'm not sure if we had a close look at this one in the past, but we'll have a quicker look, a closer look at it a little bit later on in the video now and see. It's always nice to get these bits of paper with the locomotives. Again, it's seen some action, and again when we look inside you can see I've made a slight modification to the motor. I think this, as I said, also came along 66, 67 in this livery, and then it went into the BR Corporate Blue, which is perhaps not quite such a pretty looking model, but still both the blue and the green variants are very, very popular models, I think. Well, there we go. I think we'll be better off on the layout today. I can't stand all of that wind noise along the front of the building at the moment. So we're going to come down the side of the station here. These models aren't the smoothest. The motors do suffer over time, and they are a bit growly. And this one definitely works better in forward rather than reverse. But she pulls absolutely effortlessly once you get the speed above a certain point. Now the speed I'm running at the moment is probably the sort of balance point where we start to lose control. It goes a bit stuttery if we drop below this point. But she is behaving very well. We'll just see what happens as we get to the level ground again. And of course you can wind it up quite significantly as well. There's a lot of power available if you really, really want it. Just back off a little bit to go over all the points and diamond crossings. And then we'll wind it up a little bit more. Look at that. Proper toy train speed. A little bit of control into the curves there. Tear across the bridge. That's going to do it. Yeah. Magnet adhesion, that's holding that on the track, I think. Another benefit, as well as those very deep flanges holding your model trains on the railway there. So I think we'll just calm that down and we'll run up the incline now. And we'll bring it to a gentle stop just at the top of the incline there. Here she makes more noise as you begin to back off the power a little bit. So here we've got the 65 catalogue, the last Trying Railways one, before the change over to Trying Hornby. So it does feature or announce the arrival of R751, the English Electric there. But from what I read in Pat Hammond's book, it didn't become available till early in 66. So it definitely is a Trying Railways model rather than a Trying Hornby one. So let's just pop that down and we'll have a swift look at the old service sheet here. So there is the model. They're fairly extensive things, these, and they list all of the parts. And there's an issue date here. They are updated over the years. This one I think has 66 on it. And we can see all the parts of the model. Nice weight there. We've got the motor bogie would be held in place by this spring clip here. And we see we've got no pickup on the trailing bogie. Sort of later variants in the early 70s gained a pickup, and you can see the wiring there and running through the model. But that is in the early part of the 70s, and all models using this motor bogie I think gained the pickup on the trailing bogie at that point. It hugely improves running. And we've got this lovely brass spacer here as well, which stops you sort of over cranking the screw and squashing the model. Could have been implemented in the blue Pullman. I think that would save a few of them if it had something like that. I've in fact put in a tube to try and prevent the models being crushed. So we've got the magnets for the magnet adhesion, very complicated sort of number of parts all coming together with this housing over the top of the magnet. And I said I'd made a modification to the motor, and I've just put a little bit of metal in there to bridge across here, because this plastic melts and the brush then goes out of position, and it contributes to making the model quite noisy. So we'll have a look at that when we have a look inside the model. But they're very interesting things, these service sheets. I'll include a link in the description box of where you can get hold of these. There are several sources on the internet. They really are quite useful, especially when you're trying to track down parts. So we'll just pop that down, and we'll have a look at the model. So we said we'd have a closer look at it. So this has got to be designed in the early part of the 60s. So it's a lot of work was put into this. I think we have a sticky label here, the yellow panel sticky. I don't think that's painted, and the code there is stuck on a sticky label as well. And on the other end we have that part of the chassis coming through the code box there, and you see the sticky label slipped over time. So it would be nice perhaps to try and get hold of another one of those. And I think these are metal buffers, very large. But look at all this detail through the grille here. The numbering survived quite well on this model. Again, just look at that detail around the door. I think that really is pretty good for the time. So lovely detail over the top. The horns are perhaps a little bit on the basic side, aren't they? So I have a number of these models. I do have a blue variant which has got some damage here, thought to be caused by the packaging, that vac form tray packaging. So let's have a swift look down the other side. There we go. Again, quite an accomplished model, I think. So we can see parts of the motor, the pickups there. So we've got this heavy metal frame to the motor bogie. And we've got the dummy wheels in the centre there. Plastic drive gears. So these wheels get dirty quite quickly. They need a good clean sort of every other time you're going to do any serious running, I would say. And we've got the screw holding the model together there, and Triang's name down there. If I get the model number there, R751, built in Britain. And there we have sleeved wheels on metal axles, all very basic. The coupling is riveted onto the bogie here, so that bogie frame detail there is very similar to the metal bogie frame there. So quite nice things, although that coupling is screwed in there. Let's see if we can remove the screw and dismantle the model and have a look without dropping anything too much. That sounds like we're undone. So nice long securing screw there, threaded all the way down by the looks of it, isn't it? So that's possibly an added cost to the production. I'll pop that down. So we've got the spacer here, which is bound to drop out at some point. So let's ease the bodywork off, and then forward. We'll just pop that down for a second, and we'll deal with the spacer. So there it is. It just sits on there, and it prevents the screw from being pulled down too tight and damaging either the bodywork or the chassis. Let's just pop that down, and we'll have a look at that a little bit more closely in a second. Let's just have a look at the inside of the body moulding. Now we can see we've got the separately fitted window glazing units in there, stripped glued down the side, and we've got that sort of boss, which isn't central in the model obviously because the screw is sort of located down it like that, so the bodywork only goes on the one way. So looking pretty good. It's fairly tidy condition. There is a number down there. Let's see if we can read that. I think that says S6834. I don't think we've got Triang's name within the model. I think it's just on the chassis. You can see there that hole where the chassis plugs straight in. Great big buffers. They are metal. I think they must be turned. See if we can get a focus on that. Lovely red part picked out there. Let's pop that down. Have a swift look over the chassis. So it's all fairly wobbly, and there is provision here. We could get a bit more weight in here to add to pulling power if we like. And I think later models did have 2 weights in here, and I have found that in the some of the models they do tend to derail when going that way. Dummy bogey over the points first, so I have added extra weight. It really is an advantage. This one seems to behave. I know we can see that sticky label just stuck on there. So it's a very crude way of plugging the model together, isn't it? Later models, this was removed and there were clips in the chassis to clip the body on. But then damage could be caused by removing the body. So there we have that motor bogey. So interesting design. I always thought that this could have been so much better if the armature was secured at both ends, or the bearing was at both ends rather than behind the worms on these nylon or plastic bearings, which tend to wear and cause sort of lateral movement, I think, which adds to the noise. And there, if we can see, there's a piece of metal I put in there. The hole where the brush had gone had really enlarged quite a lot, and it was allowing the brush to lie at a very peculiar angle, and it wasn't making very good contact. So it really does improve the running and cuts down on the noise. Let's just have a look around the other side there. So all fairly tidy apart from the melted sort of brush housing. It is what it is really. But it's a little wobbly like that. And say the later models would have had a wire running from this bogey through here, so we've got that improved continuity when running over complicated point work. I think she moved away relatively well. It's a little bit growly, a tiny bit stuttery, but it is over 50 years old, and it's pretty much doing the trick. And as I say, these motors aren't perfect by a long way. It looks absolutely lovely coming down there, holding the speed really, really well. Just thinking back to last week and talking about changing the layout, I've been reflecting on that quite a bit over the week, and just thinking back to when I was a child and I had the model railway, or the railway items. I didn't have it pinned down to start with, but my father had put a 8x4 board down on some old table legs, and the great fun was just making different layouts with the track. We didn't pin anything down for ages, so we were always experimenting. I think that's probably one of the things I'm looking forward to when we take this one down and build a new baseboard slightly larger. I think I'm looking forward to just experimenting. So I think that's going to be a great deal of fun. And again, we'll be able to play with all sorts of different models, perhaps some 3-rail over time as well as the Series 3. So we'll just stop that there, and then we'll open points 11. See, she's not that happy in reverse. A little bit of a jump into life there. But I think that's probably it for this week. Thanks again for watching. It's hugely appreciated. Goodbye now.